Hey guys, it's the drummer Gordo here, and today I'm going to be showing you the simplest, the most basic bucket beat that you can learn on the buckets. I'll be showing you two ways of playing it. The first way is the way that I play it, and the second way is the way that a lot of other bucket drummers play it, and the second way might be a little bit easier. But we'll get into it and see how we go. Now this beat has three main parts, and the way I play it is you play the bass drum by lifting up the bucket with your right foot slightly and striking the middle of the bucket. And then the snare sound is played by hitting about this much of the drumstick flat on the surface of the bucket. Kind of like a rim shot, but kind of just more flat, straight on the surface, like a slap. Like an open-handed slap on the bucket. And this is played with the bucket back on the ground. So you lift it up to play the bass drum, and then you put it back on the ground to get that slap for that snare sound. And the third part is just your right hand playing the ground. Depending on what ground you're playing on, the sound will differ. Smooth surface concrete, I feel, sounds the best. Now this beat is broken into eighth notes, so a good way to count it is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And on the 1 and on the 3 you play the bass drum, and on the 2 and the 4 you play that snare drum sound, slapping the bucket. And then with your right hand you play the eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and easy. And then you put it all together and it sounds like this. Now the second way to play it, which might be easier for some people, is you take a bucket that still has the handle on it and you put your foot or your shoe on that handle and then put the bucket on the ground. That way, to get that bass drum sound, the bucket is always lifted up. So whenever you hit it, you can get the bass drum sound, and it stops you having to move your legs to control the sound, and you can just have it how it is. And then to play the snare, you put a bucket the right way up and you put some stuff in it. I normally have drumsticks in that bucket, but if you want more of a snare sound, you can put coins in there. And some people put like baking trays or like stuff from the kitchen. You could like put cutlery in there to try and get the sound that you want. And that's the cool thing about this style, is you can adjust that snare sound and get a longer, funkier snare sound. So you can experiment with that for different sounds. And that bucket just sits there. You don't have to touch it with your feet or anything. It just sits there. And same as before, 1 and 3 on the bass drum, and then 2 and 4 on that snare, or on that rim of the bucket that's standing the right way up. And then your right hand is playing those eighth notes on the ground. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and And there you have it. That's pretty much the simplest bucket beat that you can learn. So if you're a beginner on the bucket drums, definitely learn it. If you're a seasoned pro, if you've been playing bucket drums for a little while, for you guys as well, it's good to go back to these simple beats and make sure that you're playing them clean and in time. You know, and maybe work on making sure you get a good deep bass drum sound and that you hit the snare just right. And once you get used to playing this beat, you can keep the snare the same and then play some different bass drum patterns, mix it up a bit, play some different beats, make it more interesting. And as long as you keep that snare drum on the 2 and the 4, it'll sound pretty cool. That's it for today, guys. See you later.